I'm back, Obama, and I'm back because of your arrogant foreign policy towards the Islamic State, because of your insistence in continuing your bombings in Amerli, Zamara and the Mosul Dam, despite our serious warnings. You, Obama, have yet again, through your actions, killed yet another American citizen. So just as your missiles continue to strike our people, our knife will continue to strike the necks of your people. We take this opportunity to warn those governments who have entered this evil alliance with America against the Islamic State to back off and leave our people alone. To the Japanese government, you, like your foolish allies in the satanic coalition, have yet to understand that we, by Allah's grace, are an Islamic caliphate with authority and power. An entire army thirsty for your blood. Abe, because of your reckless decision to take part in an unwinnable war, this knife will not only slaughter Kenji, but will also carry on and cause carnage wherever your people are found. So let the nightmare for Japan begin.
It's exam time for these Year 11s.
Mohammed, what subjects are you revising this morning?
Mohammed is Mohammed Emwazi, the schoolboy who would grow up to become the world's most notorious terrorist, nicknamed Jihadi John.
Your evil alliance with America will only accelerate your destruction.
When I heard that name and the fact that I know the family, I didn't even want to believe it. It was too shocking to even contemplate.
News of Mohammed Emwazi's reported death has come as no surprise on his old estate. But those who knew him say they find it hard to reconcile the shy, unassuming schoolboy he once was with the notorious killer he went on to become. We've obtained footage that was filmed here at his old secondary school during his formative years. It's remarkable precisely because he was so unremarkable. But his friends have told us that's exactly what made him vulnerable to extremist recruiters.
The video was filmed in 2003 for a documentary. Emwazi was a typical 15-year-old. Although his teacher thought he was revising, in fact he was playing computer games.
Oh, you started again? No. You finished every level? Sorry. You finished every level? How many?
You know, he just did what every other kid did. Just very unassuming, a quiet young man. He just got on with it.
Claudia Chiaruso was a teacher at Emwazi's school. She regularly supervised the upper playground at lunchtimes, where Emwazi would be playing football.
He was quite aloof, but always watching, you know. But he was never the centre of attention. The dad was not around as much, so he took a lot of the burden of looking after the kids. That's why I think he was quite quiet. He would just get on with it because of everything else he had to deal with. The mother I had a lot to do with, I don't think had a lot of discipline in the house.
Always on the outskirts, always wanting to hide away. Emwazi was often filmed covering his face with his hands. Some of his old school friends say he was self-conscious after being teased for apparently having bad breath. Here, he's covering his mouth with a school shirt. Years later, his face still hidden, Emwazi would face the cameras again.
As a government, you have been at the forefront of the aggression towards the Islamic State.
When news of his identity broke, the world's media descended on his family home in West London. Watching was Rod Ardihali, who went to school with Emwazi and grew up just a few streets away.
So this is the estate where Emwazi grew up?
Yeah.
I met Rod soon after Emwazi had been unmasked. When they were growing up here, the area was known for its postcode wars and gang rivalry.
It was almost like a war ground between like South Kilburn and Ladbroke Grove. This was almost like a meeting place.
Right, for the different gangs from those areas.
And many of them were the children of immigrants. Some, including Emwazi, struggled with a sense of being caught in two different cultures.
That whole dual identity, you become more aware of it as you get older.
And you think a lot of young men experience that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it also applies to women as well, kind of girls who are told to wear, hijabs from a young age and then come out and stop wearing a hijab. I mean, that's comparable to boys who are told to, be religious and follow this particular doctrine. I think there may have been a degree of inner internal conflict.
The last day of school, as his friends sign one another's shirts, Emwazi stands alone. His school says he gave no cause for concern, no indication of what he would go on to become, as he gave his teacher a hug goodbye.
Girls, you're going the wrong way.
You can kind of find yourself at a loss for a few years after leaving a school where there's a system that's been there effectively since you were a little boy. And I think radicalisers are quite good at picking up on people who may be isolated in that sense.
So they target the vulnerable?
In Emwazi's case, I think it may have just kind of developed into a situation where he was afraid and people were able to kind of, build on that and give him a purpose and give him a meaning.
Emwazi would go on to find that meaning in the arms of radical Islamists. In perhaps an indication that he was looking for a purpose, he first turned his attention not to Syria, but to East Africa, where, according to the security services, he tried to join the militant group Al-Shabaab.
After graduating in computing from the University of Westminster in 2009, he travelled to Tanzania with two friends. He said they were going on safari, but they were denied entry and interrogated. In this audio recording, Emwazi claimed the security services had harassed and abused him.
And he looked at me and he said, I still believe that you're going to Somalia to train. I said, after what I just told you, after, I told you that what's happening is extremism, this and that, and you're still suggesting that I'm an extremist.
A year later, he tried to settle in Kuwait, where his father lived, but he was denied a visa. He blamed MI5. He gave his account to the campaign group Cage, who caused controversy by suggesting the security services were to blame for Emwazi's radicalisation.
He was such a beautiful young man.
Cage told us today Emwazi should have been tried as a war criminal. By 2013, he had made it to Syria, the end of his journey into radicalisation. The schoolboy who always liked to follow, always liked to keep a low profile, who became a frontman, symbolising the brutality and barbarity of the Islamic State.